Hello there, I'm Scotty, and you're not. And now that we've finished reviewing all the movies in Sequel-A-Thon, all the movies are done, Sequel-A-Thon's done, review-wise, it's time to stop and rank all 20 movies. Some of these movies were crap to pure shit in the case of our last one, to some not so bad. And I think where some of them lie on my list might surprise some of you, but we're going to start this. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you a hint at what's going down this weekend. So, number 20, worst of all these, the absolute worst piece of shit movie I watched during the Sequel-A-Thon, Bulletproof 2. Now, I absolutely loved the first film. I decided to give this movie a chance, and for the first 25 minutes, I was fine. I was like, this is not that bad. And then they dropped the bombshell that the first movie was just the movie based on the exploits of these two, to explain why they look like that and not like Adam Sandler and Damon Wayans. Yeah, that pissed me off so much I didn't care about the rest of the movie. Piece of shit. Hate the movie. Don't ever want to watch it again. No. Everything else, I didn't mind, to be honest, but I know that some are worse than the others. But number 19 is Candyman, Day of the Dead. The worst of the Candyman movies by far. The quality is way down, even from the second one. Way down. The acting, not very good. Tony Todd is still kicking ass in this, but he's got shit to work with. Retconning stuff that we learned in the last one. The way that Candyman lusts after Caroline, who is supposedly his great-great-great-granddaughter. I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. And, like, the whole gang thing, this Candyman worshipping gang, that could have been the movie. But, no. They get killed off screen, for God's sake. Number 18 is The Ring 2, and as a follow-up to The Ring, it kind of lets you down. It's boring. Not much happens in this. She's taking over Aiden for some reason. There's no real reason that she's going after them. If Rachel beat her before, the only reason she goes after her is because she goes to have her check out and try to stop the ring. Rachel never watches the videos, so she shouldn't be going after her. It just doesn't make any sense. It's meh. Number 17 is Slumber Party Massacre 3. And after the first two Slumber Party Massacre movies, this was just kind of generic. It's a generic slasher. The reveal of the killer is meh, and the killer himself is nothing to write home about. The backstory they give him doesn't really make much sense. It just becomes a generic slasher. The first two were great. Like, the first one was a great slasher. Russ Thorne is a great villain. The second one, that Rockabilly killer, the Rockabilly Dream Killer, is also fantastic. Here it's nothing. The only thing that, it's still above the remake for me, at least, I guess, but, Number 16 is Sleepaway Camp 3. Again, this is just generic. They were filming both of these back to back, 2 and 3, and this one got the most just genericism of the slasher films. It's just, of these three, it's just like, oh, Angela's back, she's killing people, and nobody knows what she looks like, even though she killed a bunch of people than last year, but no one knows what she looks like or who she is. She could just take the place of someone and they don't know what that person looks like. I mean, come on. I mean, she makes herself look like that person, but come on. No. And the kills are it's just the basic plot is she's in one group, she kills all of them, she goes to the next group, she kills all of them, she goes to the next group, and then she gets caught. And the whole lead up with the cop being Sean's father from part 2 doesn't do anything because she kills him. And there's no real confrontation. He figures out who she is, she stabs him to death, and yeah, we just left to two generic people who are supposed to be in love, and then at the end it's like, oh, I have a boyfriend. What? I don't know. And Angela's still alive, but they never made another one. At least with this in this continuity, even Survivor, the bits and pieces I've seen don't seem to have anything to do with this, but I don't know. It's just generic. Number 15, Lawnmower Man 2. I enjoyed the first Lawnmower Man, but this movie is just retcons and bullshit, man. Like, they retcon the ending of the first one, where Job did upload himself to the internet. And because he did what he was supposed to. He rang all the phones in the entire world. He made it. But yet, they wanted to make a sequel, so they had to retcon that. And they got rid of Dr. Angelo, who would have been a perfect, foe. It would make sense. But no, we got Dr. Trace, who's just made up for this movie, created a Chiron chip. I don't know. I'll push this above the others, though. This is actually kind of entertaining. The goofiness of the CGI kind of makes up for it. It's not terrible, but it's just, compared to the first one, it's nothing. Number 14 is Rings, and I feel like this is a better follow-up to The Ring. And with the backstory you get in this, being sort of a retcon, sort of. I said in my review this not really a retcon. It's just maybe they didn't know about Burke. So, I don't know, but you could just watch the first one and this one and not really need to watch the second one. You get all the exposition and the backstory about Evelyn, about, Samara there. So, I don't know. You could watch the first one and this one and not really need the second one, I guess, because there's no mention of Rachel, so this could just happen. Who knows? Number 13 is Speed 2 Cruise Control. And I love the first film. This was a bit of a disappointment. Of course, I expected it going through, but Jason Patrick is fine, but he's not Keanu. And even sometimes Keanu's acting is not the best, but he's just generic boyfriend character who happens to be like a Navy SEAL or whatever it is, or a policeman, cop, whatever. She doesn't want a cop. Willem Dafoe as the villain was pretty good, and the two do have chemistry, but there's this whole running thing with the ring, and he's gonna propose to her, and then he's just like, puts the ring on her finger, doesn't even really ask her, but I don't know, just keep going back to it. I don't understand why, but number 12 is Son of the Mask, and yes, it is up this high. A lot of people put this at the bottom, but I put it up this high because I think it's entertaining. As stupid and annoying and nightmare fueling this movie is, it's entertaining for me, which is why it's up this far. The story is stupid. Like I said, they could have done a better version of this with the actual mask. You can even have Kellaway come back from the first one and be the new mask, because it was like that in the comics. You could have done that, but no, you need another comedian, because Jim Carrey was funny, so let's do Jamie Kennedy, who I like, but is no Jim Carrey. And the design they gave him, if Jim Carrey's mask didn't have hair, why does his? I don't know. Number 11 is G.I. Joe Retaliation, a movie that is decent, but killing off the main character of the G.I. Joe franchise within the first 25 minutes, no. And after that, it just becomes meh. You don't care about any of these characters. You don't care what happens to them, because they're not any of the original characters, except for Snake Eyes. And even the revelation that Storm Shadow didn't actually kill the Blind Master doesn't really do anything, because he's manipulated by Cobra. So, but that doesn't really make any sense, because Storm Shadow's supposed to be a bad guy. I don't know. It just never does anything I never particularly cared for, but it is a decent film, And I'm surprised this one is up high. Number 10 is Time Machine 2, because as much hate as I gave this movie, it is entertaining. It is entertainingly bad. More entertaining than the ones at the bottom, even Son of the Mask. The actors are giving it their all. I love Craig Robinson and Rob Corddry and Adam Scott in this movie. The ending can fuck off. I've never liked the ending to this movie. Putting Adam at the end of the movie, John Cusack at the end of this movie, would have worked if they got rid of if they was a completely different ending. And he's like, we gotta go Cincinnati. Then they just jumped through, and the movie ended into the credits. That would have worked. Instead, you still did the Revolutionary War Lou or whatever, Minuteman Lou, which didn't make sense. The whole time travel thing, I didn't like it in Deadpool, didn't like it in this, and I think they came out the same year. No, this is 2015. The first Deadpool came out in 2016. 2018 was Deadpool 2. I didn't like it in that one. Didn't like it in this one. Number 9. We are in the top 10, ladies and gentlemen. Number 9 is Transporter 3. A decent follow-up. I like Robert Knepper as the villain. Jason Statham, of course, is awesome. It is somewhat of a rehash of the first film, which I like the first film. But it is high-octane action from beginning to end, and it's fun. That's all I can say about that. Number 8. Teen Wolf 2. Yeah, I'm also surprised it's this high, but I did enjoy this better than some of the others. But as a follow-up to Teen Wolf, you're going to hear me say, as a follow-up to blah, 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 not as good. And you can tell this was made for Michael J. Fox. They wanted him to come back. He said no, so they changed just a little bit. But then it just becomes a rehash of the first film. And Styles is not Styles. It just doesn't work. Number 7 is Killjoy 3. Yes, I am surprised. A Killjoy movie. I hated the first two. The first film was very annoying, and the actor who played Killjoy was ear-piercing, his voice. The second film, he didn't show up to like 40 minutes in. Here, they actually did something good with him. He's out for revenge. I think that's the alternate title, was Killjoy's Revenge. It's a nice, fun little horror comedy movie. I do recommend it. It's Trent Haga is at his best compared to the second one that he did. He's great as Killjoy. I even like the plot line where it's the father of Michael trying to get revenge. But where were you in the first film? I don't know. But yeah. Number 6, Crocodile Dundee II. I grew up loving the first film, and I had seen this film before. And this was actually pretty good. The only complaint I really had about this movie is that I thought it was done, and we're only halfway through. Because they, where he rescues Sue from the drug lords or whatever, the drug cartel people, and with the gang members, and it's like, okay, that was fast, but no, we gotta go to Australia, and it's a reverse of the first one, where it started in Australia and ended in New York. We start in New York and then in Australia, but it's a nice, fun little comedy movie. Nothing bad to say. Number 5, Time Cop 2. Now, I love the first film. As a follow-up to the first film, and let me say it again, it's not bad. It's got some good action scenes. This breezed through my viewing. I think McComb was a better villain than him. What was his name? Miller? Branson. I said Brandon Miller. It's Branson Miller. Then Miller. Jason Scott Lee was a good lead, I think. There was some things that they kind of went through really fast. We could have slowed down a little bit. This is only an hour and 20 minutes. But, an hour and 21 minutes, excuse me. But, yeah, it was fine. The sequel was fine. Number 4 is Candyman, Farewell to the Flesh. I enjoyed this movie. I don't think this is as bad as people give it. I think it's a solid follow-up to the first one. Yes, it becomes sort of generic slasher fare, but it still has that sort of Candyman flair to it. But yeah, and Tony Todd is still really good. I like the lead lady in this, Kelly Rowan. She's good. I like that you have it's on tip of my tongue, from Home Improvement, Tim's brother. Ricky? No. Robbie? No. Jeff? That's the other one. His brother from Home Improvement in this. If I saw his picture, it's William. It's not at the end, but yeah, it's. I think it's a pretty solid follow-up. Number 3 is Sleepaway Camp 2. Gotta have some horror in the top 10. Well, Candyman was, but yeah. I think this is a decent follow-up to the first one. I think it has some decent kills, the toilet kill, whatever. Pamela Springsteen is better in this one as Angela than she is in the next one. I think they put the most effort into this one and just like, okay, we'll just do the other one. This has the most effort into it. And even like some of the other characters. But the ending is the one thing that really is like, it's what made me not want to watch the next one. Number 2. I want to apologize to the citizens of Chicago. But number 2 is the Blues Brothers 2000. And I'm sorry, I like this movie. I like the music. I like the actors. I like the comedy in this. I think it's a decent follow-up. I said that before. I don't get to hate for this movie. Yeah, sure, there's no real plot. To be sure. There's no real ending. To be sure. But I like the comedy stuff in this. I like it. It has the heart of a Blues Brothers movie. The same director, the same writers. Yeah. Number 1 is Fright Night Part 2. And when I was mulling over which one was going to number 1, this one kept going around in my head because I really enjoyed this, you know? I think it's a good follow-up to the first one. You have William Ragsdale back, you have Roddy McDowall back, you have a different girl, you have a different villain who's also a female, but I think they do a pretty decent job with it. I think that they, as a follow-up, it works. There's a bit of somewhat retconning at the beginning of this, but not really. More brainwashing. The whole thing with the therapist being a vampire is kind of confusing. Was he working for Regine? Was he just an extra vampire? Who knows? And yeah, I think it's pretty good. So, what are your thoughts on this? What's your ranking? Give me your top 5, top 10. You don't have to give me all of them, but let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Oh, by the way, what's coming up next for this weekend? Stay tuned.